G'day everyone and welcome back to the next installment of the Masters of the Universe core line opening. So after doing the castle and getting our special Skeletor, I think it's only fair that we get He-Man open, so we got someone to fight the forces of evil. So having a look at the package, this is the first proper one of these I get to open on camera. It's got a different backdrop, so you know you got the core line with He-Man and Skeletor from the movie in the background. The Origins line still has the traditional exploding sort of rock look, so that's how you can easily tell the difference, because in the shop looking at them it's not always obvious which one's which. And then of course Chronicle, I'll get the man in here, comes in the full-on box pack. I'll be getting to him very soon. So down the back you've got a nice picture of the actor as He-Man. That's pretty much all that's to be said for that side. On the other side, you get a look at the other figures from this wave, which was Teela with the hair down, and Beastman. And here you got a stats sheet, sort of reminds me of how Transformers used to have their stats way back. So you can see his strength, and okay, so now that I've pulled out the magnifying glass and had a look, so you've got strength, then you got your weaponry, so how well you use your weapons, then intelligence, which only gets a 6, which, yeah, as a few people said, that should be a bit higher. Magic, of course, will be low because he's not a magic user as such. He wields a magic sword and that, but he doesn't actually perform magic. And speed is only a 2, which, yeah, fair enough, okay. So anyway, that's pretty much for the back. You've got a nice picture of Castle Grayskull in the background. There's the Beastman, Teela up there, which we get to them very soon. All your fine print down here. So enough talk, let's get him out of the pack and have a look at him. And here's our He-Man out of the packaging, and I must say they've done a really good job of how this character looks, or how all these figures do look. I don't know if I mentioned in the Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain review that I actually did like the aesthetics of the 200X or 2000X line, with the more streamlined bodies and the less bulky look. It just felt more right to me as a growing audience or an aging audience that was looking for something different than what they had as their childhood. So for me, these figures lend a really good amount of that more streamlined look, but still absolutely remaining as something that you visually know who it is. So having a closer look, as I thought, that sword doesn't have a painted grip, so it's just all silver. It's a bit of a shame. The face does look really good. They've done such a good job here with the sculpting that it really does look like the actor, so well done Mattel for that. The armor all sort of is right. Bit of paint on the sides here that just doesn't look very neat. Even down here it's a little bit splodgy, but oh well. And you've got his skirt piece sort of thing, his hilt, and the boots. So while it's definitely a He-Man look, it's a modern look, and I don't mind that. The articulation is the same as what I showed with Skeletor in the last review. Head, only a little bit of up and down movement. It's actually limited there, but rotating side to side, fine. Arms go out and eventually back in, all the way around. Nice 90-degree bend, rotation at the elbow. Once again, as I said, this hand will go in and out this way. On the other side, the hand has that feature where you can hold it, the sword up and it's not actually pointing like back all the time. You can actually point it almost straight up, depending how far you raise his arm. Waist rotates, legs go out fine, good forward kick. Once again, that back restriction, and bends at the knee and rotates. So just like Skeletor, good amount of articulation without going overboard for the price point, and that's what I really appreciate about this line. They're bringing in Skeletor to see the two together. It actually looks, just from every now and then seeing it, looks like Skeletor's got some sort of sparkles in the face. Every now and then you just catch a bit of a glint. Maybe it's just a clear finish to protect the paint, but it looks good. There is the first two figures that I've reviewed. As I said, there's also a Skull Knight, which, as I said, I haven't done a proper review yet, but it's one that I've opened. This is He-Man's video, and there's not much more to say. He looks great. I really appreciate what they've done here with the figure and with this whole line. And as you've seen, I do have the Chronicles version, and I did manage to pick up also the Origins version of this He-Man to do a comparison in the future when I open them all up, because actually the only Origins He-Man I have is the 2000X Snake Armor version from Origins, and it's not my favourite one, but it was the only one I could find at the time. I also do have Prince Adam that came with the Sky Sled, which looks a lot more like He-Man, so I think the Origins version will replace the Snake Armor version that I've got on the shelf. But just wanted to keep this one nice and quick. Like I said, another great figure for the collection, and yeah, as I said, plenty more of these figures to go. So remember to like and subscribe. Definitely subscribe if you want to see more of these openings, and I'll catch you in the next video.
By the power of Christ.